Hello and welcome to Herbalist and Herbs. My name is Harry Chrissakis. Today's video is short, Protecting and Nourishing the Brain. Now we're going to be speaking about the brain in a general way, and it's going to illustrate one of the basic principles of natural medicine or natural healing, and that is to strengthen the terrain. So what you want to look at when you're working with something specific like the heart of the brain is, what does the organ like? What does it use? How does it function well? What are the things that it uses as food? And in the brain, I'll give you a couple of interesting facts. It is 60% fat in the form of phospholipids. It also consumes approximately 20% of the body's oxygen and 20% of its glucose. Now, a couple of things about that combination which can produce trouble is that fat is exquisitely sensitive to oxidative damage. And the fact that the brain runs hot and fast could make it subject to that if it doesn't have a sufficient amount of antioxidants produced on its own or given to us through diet to help it quell that possibility of free radical damage. Now, in the case of many of the brain type injuries that you see that are neurodegenerative in nature, they have an oxidative damage component to them. And the thing is with fat, once you start an oxidative reaction, it continues to occur as a chain reaction that's quite slow and insidious and can go over decades until it ultimately culminates in neurological damage that's irreversible. Now, in order to prevent that from happening and just to enhance function of the brain, it would be good to take a range of antioxidants to help protect the brain. Now, once again, one of the things that both protects the brain and creates somewhat of a drawback in this area is the blood-brain barrier, meaning that you have to take things that will be able to get through that. And three antioxidants that work well in that area are coenzyme Q10, ginkgo, and alpha-lipoic acid. All of those work well in relationship to helping the brain in terms of keeping oxidative stress down. The other area that has to do with the brain having problems is getting, of course, enough blood into the area. And ginkgo, once again, helps that. It's known to increase both oxygenation and blood flow to the brain. In order to help the brain function in a more general way, I use adaptogenic herbs. Adaptogenic herbs are a small class of herbs worldwide, about 35 of them, that are classified according to one very simple definition. They raise non-specific resistance, which means they enhance everything in the body functionally. And the adaptogens have a particularly pronounced effect in two areas. That is on the central hormonal axis and on the central nervous system, which of course is what the brain is about. Now, the three or four that I like to use particularly have a more calming effect to them. And those are ashwagandha, gotu kola, holy basil, and reishi mushroom. Not only do they have an enhancing effect in terms of the endurance of things like thinking and working with a lot of mental problems, but they also protect the brain through a number of mechanisms. They can function as antioxidants. They can also function as things that increase blood flow to the brain, just as two general ideas. Now again, when we're working with the brain, and just to give the idea of brain injury, which for me is a larger category, it just includes a bunch of things like ADDH, premature dementia. It may be something like MS or Parkinson's or Alzheimer's. And all of these have a oxidative dimension to them, oxidative damage dimension to them, which again, you can help either slow down or stop through the use of antioxidants. And in order to feed the brain, because it is 60% fat, and because a good percentage of that fat is DHA, which is the omega-3 fraction of one of the omega-3s in fish oil, I give them that fraction of the fish oil. So those two things in combination, which are very simple ideas, work well in a very basic and broad way. Now, if I want to get more into neural function, I would do something like acetyl L-carnitine or phenyl L-carnitine arginate and or together. I also use things that are considered nootropic, which are a class of substances that not many people know a great deal about. They've been around for about 40 to 60 years. There are things like aniracetam, piracetam, pick a melon. More well-known ones are things like CDP choline and alpha GPC. They would function under the class of nootropics. And also the use of traditional nervines, things that either calm down or speed up function and enhance nerve function. Avena is a wonderful herb to help nerve function, and in general to get better function and calming people down too. Now, I tend towards that because a lot of Americans are just overamped. So my idea is to, and the way I like to work, is to get them to calm down, but to maintain the focus and integrity that they need to when they work. Because a lot of people come to me for problems of endurance on their jobs because they're so mentally demanding. Once again, these same ideas can transcend the treatment program into a program of either prevention and or enhancement of function. A bunch of these things go in and can help create a program that can keep a person functionally well in terms of their mind for decades and decades into their old age. If you want to know more about these kinds of issues, there's more information available on my website, which is herbalistandherbs.com. Please take a look. There's a lot of good articles there, and thanks for taking the time to watch this video.